Shalom, Ka'ala Yahweh, Ba'Shem Yahushai, Ba'Shem Ruach Kodash. Double honors my teachers, the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Peace and mercy to the elect, who are the house of David reborn again in this generation. And Shalom to the 130 Yasharallah, who today are known as the Negroes, Latinos, and Native Indians, who before losing their true heritage were known as, and still are, the true Hebrew Israelites of the Holy Bible. In today's lesson, we're going to talk about this image right here. And what it depicts is the Messiah, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ, whose true Hebrew name is Yahushai, standing in front of the Father, who the world ignorantly calls Jehovah or God, whose true Hebrew name is Yahweh. Right? Well, in this image, Yahushai can be depicting wielding his two-edged sword with a blade of flame, right? And his garments dyed as if he trodden down the winepress, right? Which is basically an analogy or symbolism for saying that his garments would have be drenched in blood, right? It also in this scripture, let's actually get it real quick. This is Isaiah 63:1. Who is this that cometh from Edom with dyed garments from Bozrah? This that is glorious in his apparel, traveling in the greatness of his strength. I that speak in righteousness, mighty to save. Right? And that right there is talking about it's a poetic way of describing Yahushai, right? After him coming from what you would know today as America. You see, when it tells you here, it says, who is this that cometh from Edom? Right? When it's talking about Edom, it's talking about the people who you would know today as the so-called Caucasian race, right? And right now, the pretty much the main area of power in the world, which the Caucasian race not only dwell but rule from, is America, right? Which America is also referred to as Babylon the Great, right? And in this case, in this scripture here, it's talking about, it calls America Bozrah. Now, why is that? Well, when you get into the ancient times, Bozrah was a capital city in the land of Edom, right? This was one of the capital states that the nation of Edom, these Caucasians, had when they lived in the Holy Land, just southeast of Jerusalem, right? And what is known today as modern day Jordan, or if you want to get more specific, in the land of around Petra. Okay, well, it's telling you here is basically, who is this that comes from America, from the mainland of the Edomites, right? Well, it tells you here that he's going to be glorious in his apparel, meaning that he's going to have an amazing garment on, right? That he's going to be well, basically dressed and decked out as being a royal king, right? And it tells you here that he's going to be traveling in his greatness of this strength, which is ultimately meaning that he's going to be coming. He's not just going to be walking on the streets. He's going to be coming in what the world ignorantly calls UFOs, right? Which is basically these chariots of heaven, right? So the Lord is going to be coming in a great, powerful ship, right? And destroying as he comes along, right? So that's the image that is depicted here, right? Well, it shows Yahushai here standing in front of the Father, which is, scripture from Isaiah talking about how he was brought before the Father, and that the Father gave him all power and dominion, right? And also, as you can see, he's standing here in a river of what looks like blood, right? And I think that's the UN building you can see right here. Right? Yeah, it looks like the UN building. I may be wrong about that, but this for sure here is the Statue of Liberty, right? Which, when you get into the Statue of Liberty, some people say it's actually it's an hermaphrodite. It's a male dressed up to be as a woman, or what you would refer today as a transsexual. But for the most part, it represents Diana, right? Ishtar, the queen of Babylon, the wife of Nimrod, right? Which all the pagan worshiping of Ishtar, Diana, Semiramis all goes back to. Well, in this case here, not only is he standing in front of a decapitated Statue of Liberty, but he's also holding the Babylonian American flag, showing you that Yahweh Shai has destroyed the nation of America, right? And this is prophecy. This tells you that this is going to actually happen. This isn't just some Israelites just making this up because he doesn't like America. No, it tells you this in the Bible. This is Revelations 18 and 17. For in 1 hour so great riches is come to naught, and every shipmaster and all the company in ships and sailors Salaki, I'm over here on the beach below a flight path, it seems. But let's continue. It says, for in 1 hour so great riches is come to naught, and every shipmaster and all the company in ships and sailors, and as many as trade by sea, stood afar off, and cried, when they saw the smoke of her burning, saying, what city is like unto this great city? And they cast dust on their heads, and cried, weeping and wailing, saying, alas, alas, that great city, wherein therein were made rich all that had ships in the sea by reason of her costliness. For in 1 hour is she made desolate. Rejoice over her, thou heaven, and ye holy apostles and prophets, for God hath avenged you on her. Right, and this is talking about how all the merchants and all these people who are coming by these trade ships, these oil liners, who are basically just going to be moored off the coastline, right, waiting to unload. Because right now we know that there's a big backup of all these ships, trying to unload their goods, but they can't, just because there's so much backup at the ports here in America, right, over in Louisiana, Long Beach, and all the other major ports, right? But this is all to fulfill prophecy, because when these merchants who are on their ships, they see the ultimate destruction of America, this is what they're going to say, like the scripture says, man, that in 1 hour they're going to witness the destruction of America. And why is that going to happen? Well, because what you're seeing right now, the buildup of the armies over in Ukraine and in the Middle East, all that will eventually lead to World War III. Because no, these politicians are not going to be able to save you or save their political empires. They will eventually, all negotiations will eventually fail, and we will be going into World War III, right? Everything will ultimately come to a big crescendo, and it's all going to play out according to the Bible, which is just one of those scriptures I just read you. And not only that, but when it comes to you, this is where you have to start asking yourself, are you in the right? Are you doing what you can during this last hour? Well, it tells you here, it says, John 5 and 28, marvel not at this, for the hour is coming in the which all that are in the graves shall hear his voice. Right? Talking about the end time, the second coming of the Messiah. Right? When the Messiah comes, everybody on the earth, including all those who are reincarnated in this generation, they will ultimately see the Messiah coming for his second coming, right? Just like those centurions who ultimately stabbed and were responsible for crucifying the Lord when he was here during the time when he was given up for sacrifice. Verse 29, and shall come forth they that have done good unto the resurrection of life, and they that have done evil unto the resurrection of damnation. Right? And it tells you, man. So you see, right now, living in this world, you're going to have a choice to basically, get right. Because right now, all these lessons that are being put out, all the messages that are being sent out, all, those random encounters you have out there with people who all of a sudden start talking about the Bible, or who have asked you questions about the Bible, or who all of a sudden bring up, basically opinions about the end of the world or how things should happen, right? All that is for a witness that when they heard this truth, they either stood with it and they ultimately attempted to wake up, or they scoffed against it and they rejected the truth of the Bible, right? Because they either thought they didn't have enough time, they thought it was folly, or they thought they had a better way. Well, this, like I said again, this is ultimately going to be the what's going to come to all the people upon the earth, right? And it's going to depend on where you stand, man, right? When this happens, those who are not with this truth are going to be devastated and are ultimately going to be on the losing side. Those who have chosen to wake up and are waiting for the Messiah to return and are doing their best to stay within the laws as best as they can, they're going to see this as a blessing. They're going to be rejoicing at the second coming. So I just want to touch upon that, Akim. So hopefully this video was edifying. Until next time, I want to give all praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Ruach Kodash. Double honors to my teachers, the apostles, and the elders of Great Millstone. Peace and mercy to the elect. Shalom.